Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Susanne, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of. Hello and welcome to another coffee chat episode of the Point to Rise podcast. My name is Susanne and I am your host today. Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here. It is me today. Christy is taking care of herself. She had a few events happening in her personal life. And if you have been following her, you are apprised of what's going on. So today we are going to talk about mental health. It was Mental World Health Day yesterday. And what a better way than to really dive into that topic, because I didn't know I was struggling with my mental health most part during my career. Actually, it was not something that we talked about in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s. It was just expected, and that we are, just pushing through over and over and over again. And we're forgetting that there are signs that present themselves so obviously that are actually considered a decline of our mental health. And why is our mental health so important? Well, let me tell you. If our brain, if our mind that controls everything, every thought, every belief, every action that we take, every step in our life, if that is not a healthy place, then imagine how that actually 100 axis in our body as well, and through the actions that we're taking, how we're influencing others, or how we're teaching, how we're showing up on stage, how we're showing up in front of other people when we're, teaching them or holding seminars, or the possibilities are endless. So it is so important that we are really taking care of our mental health. When I was in my last, I would say 3 years of dancing, I really struggled with anxiety. But it wasn't something that we actually had named at that point yet. It was just something, well, you may not feel prepared enough, and that's why you were so scared. And it gotten to the point at the end that I actually did not even enjoy going on stage anymore. It was such a heavy burden. I would not sleep. I couldn't eat. I smoked more than, not that my body ever could take that, but at least, a pack and a half a day just before performances, because I was so frightened. And it was never really talked about. I had never the courage to say, hey, I am really struggling. I'm actually not even feeling my body on stage anymore, because my entire system is just about to shut down because it wants to protect me. So let's make it something that we talk about all the time. Let's make it something that is on the forefront, that companies invest in. It's not even a question that when other companies come to them and say, hey, we want to help you with the mental health of your dancers, singers, musicians, you name it, that they say, yes, we have a budget for that. It is not something that actually needs to be raised or is expected for the company to be brought in, but it's something that leaders and participants and board members see as absolutely essential for a healthy, thriving, sustainable company, that the mental health of performing artist is looked after. So let's talk about signs that you can watch out for, that I urge you not to overlook, that are actually showing you signals, the red flashing light when your tank is empty or is just about empty in the car. What these signs are when your mental health is declining and how you can counteract that. Now, the counteraction is different for everybody. I think it is important that we're actually working on our ability to be aware of these signs and not brushing them under a carpet and saying, oh, you're just weak, or I just have to push through this because I have 4 swan lakes and 4 nutcrackers in the next 8 days. And after that, I can relax. You can also do things in between to stabilize where you are at, so you're not declining even more. Okay, so let's get into the juicy stuff. So one sign, number one, is that you feel more anxious or worried about anything and everything that's out there. And I understand that we all get worried and stressed out at times, but the anxiety, that heartbeat in your throat, the one that takes off your ability to think clear, to breathe free, to breathe clear, that really interferes with you being able to show up as your very best self. That's the kind of anxiety I'm talking about. These two things, the anxiousness and the worrying more than you ever do, that you worry particularly about everything. These are signs that you actually are declining in your mental health. And let me add here that when your anxiety actually comes with either shortness of breath or a headache, dizziness, sweating, restlessness, when you can't sit still and you have a hard time even controlling what you want to think, what you're going to do, how you're going to act, a racing mind that wakes you up at night, diarrhea or nausea. These are the signs that coming with the anxiety that are definitely that red light flashing in your car that you need to do something. You need to step back. You need to ask yourself questions. Okay, how did I get here? What is going on? And how can I take care of myself right now? Okay. Another sign is that you have emotional outbursts. Okay. Like all of a sudden, everything seems to be very dramatic. You can't find any happiness or joy, I would say, that your mood jumps up and down. You have you're experiencing extreme anger or distress. These can be symptoms of your mental health declining. So when you find that, or somebody's actually bringing it up to you and saying, hey, you seem just a little bit on edge, this is that is your signal to, hey, okay, maybe I need to go get some help. Maybe I need to dig deeper into this. Maybe there is something that I have not been looking at for a very, very long time. And it's time now for me to take care of that. Another sign that your mental health is declining is that you have problems sleeping. So problem sleeping means either that you cannot sleep enough, that however much you sleep feels enough to your body, that you're consistently tired, or you have very disruptive sleep. I had both, and I'm still struggling with disruptive sleep. I wake up at night and my heart is racing and my mind is racing, and I know I really have to take care of myself over and over and over again. So it is so important. There's so many studies out there, and we're not going to dig into this, about how important, how imperative sleep is. and what the I would say consequences are if we're not giving our body enough sleep, enough rest. As a high performer, regardless how old you are, if you're 15, 25, 35, these are the things you really, really, really need to dig deep into, even though your body is still stronger as in, compared to a 45 or 55-year-old. If you're not doing it now, you will have to pay for it later, believe me. So what else? We have, oh yeah, another sign is that your appetite or your weight changes. And that can go either way, right? It can go that you actually start losing appetite and that you can't eat, that you feel nauseous all the time when you're actually putting something in your body. And there's the other side of it, that you actually binge eat. And I would say there are so many signs, but two more that I really want to point out here, and it is the feeling of feeling guilty and worthless all the time. Meaning that if you find yourself deflecting praise or anything good that's coming into your life, and you feel like you're not even worth of receiving that, or you're not feeling worth of getting it, whatever it is, then you also know that your mental health is declining. Something I would urge you to really look into, because all of that can really go down the rabbit hole really, really quickly. Like if you're not feeling worthy of being here or dancing the role, or, getting paid a certain amount, or being in a relationship, or, there is more to it. Again, that is a warning, flashing red light in your car coming on, letting you know that there is some work that needs to be done. And don't disregard that. We're not doing it in our car because we know the consequences, right? If that light flashes too long, the car is going to stop, unless you have an electric car. But the car is literally unable to drive anymore. And that is how our body is a little bit more gracious, I would say. The red light can sometimes flash for years up on end. But don't underestimate the power of that flashing light. Help, go find help, go find somebody that can really support you if you don't even know where to start. And most of us, honestly, guys, I didn't know where to start either. I had no idea. And I sometimes to this day, when I have my anxiety attacks, which have, by the way, become much, 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 much less. And I know where they're coming from, and I know why they're there. And I know what is going on now because of all the work that I have done on myself. However, I still get overwhelmed by them. I still need an hour or 2 or 3 sometimes to just sit or even sleep it off, because it is my warning sign. Okay, here is where either something is not right, some trigger may have caused that, or there is something you need to really look into, something that is either pushing you outside and outside of what you know, or something that I shouldn't even be considering looking at or going at. It is our body wanting to keep us safe. Now, there's clinical depression and clinical anxiety, and I understand all of that, but we need to understand that it always starts very small. It starts with these tiny little signs that I talked about earlier that we can take care of so they don't escalate, so they don't become interfering in what we want to do and who we want to become, so that your car doesn't stop, so that you can keep on driving down that highway. Last but not least, it is, and that's a big one, when you find yourself leaning towards substances that literally numb you out. meaning that if you find yourself, having a drink or two more than usually, and that goes on over a certain amount of time, okay, lean into that. Ask yourself, is this really bringing out the best in you? And why are you doing that? So, and of course, there are other substances that people can take and do take in order to numb themselves. But it is important that we are looking at these. I understand that many people do this to, just take the edge off or to feel relaxed. And I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. And also always check in with yourself, where you're at. How much is this becoming something that you have to do every day? So don't let your car run out of gas. Take care of yourself. Mental health is such a huge, huge, huge topic. And I feel it should be a topic every day. It's not just a day that we're dedicating out of the year once. It's something that is every day, every hour of the day important. Because if our mind isn't healthy, our body is not going to be healthy as well. Oh, I want to add here something. Listen, when you all of a sudden have any kind of physical pain that you don't know where it's coming from, that can also be a sign that your mental health is actually declining. It is your mind giving you a different light on that dashboard, telling you, hey, you have been ignoring this one, but how about this one? How much is that impacting your day-to-day life? How much of an inconvenience is this right now, so that you're listening and that you're taking care of me? Because that body, that mind is really, it's your superpower, and it's the only one you get. So take care of it. All right, guys, I am sending you so much love. Coffee chat by myself today. It would mean the world to me if you could share your biggest takeaway of this podcast. If you shared it with somebody who needs to hear this, maybe somebody that is near and dear to you that you want to help, and they just are maybe a little bit in resistance, or you really just need that little nudge from another person, share this podcast with them. And I hope that it could potentially open their eyes from a different perspective. I am sending you so much love. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.